Alright everyone, it is Finn here and welcome to some more African football news ahead of the 2022 World Cup. And today, to all the Moroccan fans out there, this one's for you, because former Aston Villa winger Anwar El Ghazi confirms he could switch international allegiances from Holland to Morocco ahead of the 2022 World Cup. Now obviously for African football fans and especially for Morocco, this is absolutely huge. As we know, Anwar El Ghazi on his day is an absolutely brilliant footballer and he could be a huge addition to this Moroccan national team. So in today's video, much like all the other kind of similar videos I've done to this on this channel, I'm just going to update you guys on the situation, let you know exactly what's happening, and I'm going to talk about whether Anwar El Ghazi joining Morocco is a good idea. As I've kind of stated before, I do think it would be a great addition. I think before we read in the article a bit, just looking at a player like Anwar El Ghazi, in terms of his numbers, he has been brilliant throughout his career. No, not one of the best attackers in world football, but he's kept a good level of consistency. I mean, looking at him for PSV so far in the Eredivisie this season, 3 goals in 6 games, definitely not bad, and I think it was definitely a good kind of reboot to his career. As we know beforehand, he was at Aston Villa, where he was brilliant from time to time at that club. As we know, 10 goals in 28 games in the 2021 season. That's kind of where they gave him the nickname El Ghazi, which I don't know about that, but maybe Thomas Muller was an Aston Villa fan.
For Robert Lewandowski.
But as we know, just looking at his numbers at Aston Villa, he was not a bad player. There was just kind of a stage where they kind of gave up on him. I think it was kind of a similar time when Coutinho joined the club, and they kind of just thought that they had better options. Also on top of that, he then had to move out to Everton, where he got loaned out and only played 2 games, not really given much of a chance. Moved back to Aston Villa, where once again kind of played for the under-21 team, which as a 27-year-old, not something you really want to do. So as I said, going to PSV definitely seems to be the right choice. I mean, looking at the younger years of his career. As we see at Ajax, his numbers were absolutely brilliant, both goals and assists. Same as when he kind of went to Lille, 4 goals and 4 assists. That's kind of what caught Aston Villa's attention. But as I said, all moving together to PSV, only 27 years old, it was a great reboot to his career. Now reading a tiny bit further into the article and the situation as a whole, former Aston Villa winger Anwar El Ghazi confirms he could switch international allegiances from Holland, also known as Netherlands, to Morocco in time for the 2022 World Cup, as the PSV man has just played twice for the Oranje in 7 years, or 7 years ago. As we know, in 2015, I believe it was, he did have 2 appearances for Oranje, but at the end of the day, it's just not good enough. You're 27 years old, you're going to want to have those chances, and realistically, he's not going to play for Holland or the Netherlands at the World Cup. I mean, they've got brilliant options up front, and it's just so difficult to get into. Yes, I'm not saying that Morocco have a bad attack whatsoever, they've got some brilliant attackers up front, some of the best in the world, but having a player like him as an addition, it can only do wonders. I mean, I've spoken about the fact that Ziyech rejoining this team is absolutely huge for their attack. Obviously, Mazraoui as a fullback even is a huge addition to this team. But looking at some of their other attacking options, I do feel like they are a tiny bit thin. Yes, they've got some good striker options up front, but to have a player like El Ghazi who can play anywhere in the front 3, it is a major addition. Reading a bit further into the article, Anwar El Ghazi has confirmed he could switch international allegiances from Holland to Morocco in time for the World Cup. Because I mean, let's be honest, everyone's dreams to go to the World Cup. The PSV forward, who previously spent 4 years at Aston Villa and a brief loan spell at Everton, was born in, I can't say that name to be honest with you, in Netherlands, but he has dual citizenship and could have played for Morocco instead. Obviously still can do so. He opted for the Europeans, reportedly on the advice of Cristiano Ronaldo, but played just twice for the Oranje senior team in 2015 as part of qualifying for the European Championships for that following year. The 27-year-old was named in Louis van Gaal's provincial team in the country's tilt for the 2020 Euros, once again only about a year or 2 ago, but ultimately was not included in the Dutch plans. Once again, it just goes to how much quality they have up front. I mean, when you've got Berghuis, Steven Bergwijn, Memphis Depay, and so many other attackers, it's not going to be easy to break into that attack. After being omitted from manager Van Gaal's provincial Oranje squad for Qatar, El Ghazi said he could swap international allegiances to Morocco. Once again, would be a brilliant addition. We know this Moroccan team, they've got class throughout, but they're going to want to take their best players to the World Cup. I mean, obviously, everyone's going to want to. But being in a group with Croatia, who made it to the final of the previous World Cup, you've got Canada, who have some of the best young stars in world football, and Belgium, who recently were ranked number 1 in the world. It is not an easy group, and Morocco, they're going to have to want to put their best foot forward, and maybe that's going to have to be El Ghazi's best feat. As we know, El Ghazi scored the opener for PSV Eindhoven in a 3-0 win over Nijmegen in Dutch League on Sunday after moving to the Dutch League at the end of August. He then said Moroccan Federation were working towards getting him available for the World Cup. Once again, if you can put him on the left side and you've got someone like Ziyech on the right side and you put a really good top quality striker up front, I've mentioned quite a few times Hamdallah, although I know a lot of people aren't necessarily a fan of him, but whoever you get forward, even if it's in Nesiri, if you get a striker like him up front, that's your front three sorted for Morocco. I know a lot of people are saying that Nesiri isn't necessarily the most clinical striker. I'm definitely one of those people who have that opinion. But once again, if you've got El Ghazi on one side who can get those crosses into the box for you, and once again, if you've got Ziyech on the other side who can create those chances, you don't really need the most clinical striker in the world if everyone contributes. Morocco's World Cup campaign begins on the 23rd of November against 2018 finalist Croatia, but for further group stage games against Belgium and Canada. Before the tournament, PSV have a Europa League commitment against Glimt, obviously the Scandinavian team, before league matches against Alkmaar and Ajax. Huge games. El Ghazi and Aston Villa joined Aston Villa in 2018, initially on a loan, and stayed there until the summer. He joined Everton on loan in January 2022, but played just 2 games. Once again, he's an absolutely brilliant footballer. That's kind of all the information that's being given about him here. But he is an absolutely phenomenal footballer. At the moment in time, nothing's been confirmed about him already swapping international allegiances. Just the fact that it is in talks, that it is a reality that could end up happening. As I said, I believe he's an absolutely brilliant footballer. As I said, that season or two at Aston Villa, he was an absolute machine. I mean, when no one seemed to be scoring for him, he was the player who stepped up to a whole new level. When Jack Grealish was out injured, he was the brand new Jack Grealish for him. I mean, dare I say, if he ended up staying a season or two longer, he could have had a £100 million move to Man City. Once again, a bit exaggerated there, I am joking, but he is an absolutely phenomenal footballer, and he's one of those players that played in the right system, can be a real difference maker, and could be the difference maker in how far Morocco make it in the tournament. But ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much it for today's video. Once again, much like lots of the other videos I've done with international allegiance swaps with Ghana and that, relatively short video, but I just wanted to update you guys on the situation. Let me know in the comment section down below, do you think it is a good move or not for El Ghazi? Do you think it's a good or not move for Morocco? Realistically, I don't think he's going to get into the Netherlands team, and I actually think it's the perfect move. 27 years old, he can still create a real legacy on the international stage, but we'll see what happens. Guys, this has been Finn, FYWN. Don't forget to subscribe down below for more content like this in the future. Don't forget to like all of the good stuff. Until next time, cheers.